Okay, before we get on to the last award of the day, there's something that I want to talk to everybody about personally that means something very, very much to me, and I want to discuss it with everybody because it's not only part of our company, but it was also something that was a major part of my life. For those that don't know, or you've probably seen, and you see this saying now, be something more. And be something more is something that for me means is incredibly special, and I'll try and kind of keep this together a little bit. When I was a young lad at home, my mother, when I was about 8 years old, my brother and I, who's about 5 years older than I am, had always said, we want posters on a wall, can we put up pictures of cars and, push all this stuff. And my mom was always like, no, it's my house, no posters, no posters. You gotta have your room immaculate and all that sort of stuff. And one day she came home and she said, I've got a poster for you. And I was like, oh, come on, you kidding me? And the poster that she came home for was Be Something More. And Be Something More was on my wall, on my bedroom wall, and on my brother's bedroom wall until basically both of us left home. Why this is significant is I lost both of my parents in the last 12 months, or in the last 18 months. Both of them died of old age. Luckily, both were in their very late 80s and had a great life. But Be Something More was something that I was taught. It was drilled into me as a child that it didn't matter who you were, what your line of work was. It didn't matter whether you wanted to be a doctor, a solicitor, an engineer, a painter, a musician. Made no difference. None of that mattered in life, but all that mattered was to be something more. To do something for your community, to do something for yourself, and be more than just a person that goes through life, kind of going through the motions. And Be Something More is also, not only have we now, kind of put it as the catchphrase for the whole company, because I think it does completely personify what we do, and so many individual people in our company around the world do, but it's also now part of what we describe as the Cobra Foundation. And the Cobra Foundation was something we started many years ago, and it was supporting great causes around the world. And some of those great causes was we built schools in the Philippines that I know Spencer and the guys have been to and Steve Sapsford went to, that we all got together. We rallied behind causes. We've had orphanages in Laos. We've provided projects to Aboriginal communities here in Northern Australia. We've done everything from help the fire victims in Victoria a couple of years ago during the devastating fires. We've done things for the flood victims in the UK in recent months. And we're always on the lookout for great causes that we want to support through the Be Something More Foundation, or as it's known here in Australia, which is Give Something Back. About 2 weeks ago, one of our staff in Sydney approached me, who's an Australian guy, Glendon. He's been with us now for quite a while, and he said, look, I'm not sure if you'd be ever interested, but I've got this great, interesting story about a guy who was here in Australia. He's a very, very close friend of mine, who very tragically injured himself in Sydney Harbour in 2010 by diving into Sydney Harbour and instantly breaking his neck and becoming a quadriplegic. And life is quite sad, and unfortunately these things do happen. And I said, okay, well, what's going on? And he said, well, me and his best mates are trying to raise some money for him. And I said, well, what's the money for? So they said, well, sadly, because Zane was originally South African, when he came to Australia to fulfill his dreams literally were taken out from under him, with literally the click of his fingers, and he could not afford, hospital care and the chronic care provided, or the cost of care that would be provided, or he would need to sustain his life as we know it. And I said, okay, tell me more. I want to know more about this. Interestingly, my closest friend, also on the graduation day from high school, he was a gentleman by the name of Steve McPherson, who I'd gone to school with, and we were best friends, also became a quadriplegic in a swimming pool accident, which I was there for on our graduation day. So this was something that kind of hit me from all different sides. Anyway, without kind of going too much down the emotional track, the reality is that what these guys are attempting to do is something really incredible. In order to raise money to provide care for Zane, who is a remarkable, remarkable story, what they are doing is they are riding by bicycle from Fremantle to Bondi. Which, yeah, exactly. I can feel the groans of pain on everybody's faces are instantaneous. It's an incredibly worthy cause. I'd like to put up on screen, actually, the first slide of the website that'll just give you a bit of an idea. This guy's story is unbelievable. I then instantly said, you know what, it's something that not only I personally want to support, but it's something that I really think that the Be Something More ideals of Be Something More really personifies. And it just goes on to talk about what he's done. He committed himself to going back to full-time work within 6 months. Within 6 months of his accident, he'd achieved that goal. He now, however, obviously requires permanent care for his condition, and the cost of his care, now that he's had to return to South Africa, is $10,000 a year, which for this person, it's a completely life-changing situation, and he doesn't have the means to do it. We at Appco have decided to get behind the entire program. What we've done is that we're sponsoring the entire ride. We're putting up all the money for the trucks and support vehicles. We're providing all the ancillary costs to get these two guys to ride across the country on Zane's behalf to raise the money that he needs. I'm not here to ask for money as such, but we want to make people aware of what we're doing because it so is what Be Something More to me stands for. It's about doing something with your life that's really special, doing something that's different, and doing something that means something to other people in such a positive way. There are methods, and I'll ask probably the next slide to go through. Again, it tells a little bit more about Zane's story, and then there is a way to make donations if people are really personally attached to this. The website, just so people know, is called coasttocoast.2014.com. We will be sending out posters and newsletters to all the offices. I would really appreciate, it's not a corporate thing, you're not obliged to do it, but a little money goes a long way. And these two guys are showing an incredible amount of courage to go out and ride on behalf of their mate to try and just make his life a little bit more tolerable and a bit more special. And I ask that everybody really, really gets behind this. What I'm gonna try and do, they don't know this yet, is the ride finishes in Bondi, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, sometime, I think it's in late May, something like that, early June, and I'd love to get 500 or 600 of us to turn up and greet them when they arrive, and really, really, really give these guys the send-off they deserve. I think it's a remarkable cause. The story of Zane's life is incredible and how much he personally has had to really endure, and also the challenges he's had in getting his life back on track. And I hope everybody supports what I think is an incredibly good cause. And I hope everybody understands even further the concept of Be Something More. And I thank you for the time and listening. Thank you very much.